You're listening to Knives Monroe versus the podcast, and we're here to make you think about death and get sad and stuff.
I'm hearing voices, animal voices, the tremble of calm, the feminine abyss, reaching my threshold, staring at the truth till I'm blind. My body's stupid, stereo putrid, spewing out music in the raw sewage, reaching my threshold, staring at the truth till I'm blind. My threshold, my threshold, reaching my threshold. I'm hearing voices, animal voices.
Welcome to another episode of the podcast. My name is Knives Monroe. How you guys doing? Happy New Year. It's January 2nd, 2019. And here we are, starting the decade with a clean slate. And I'm feeling pretty good. I had a terrible dream last night, something I actually didn't know I was going to talk about until right now, and it spooked me, man. And I don't know about you if this has ever happened, but for years I had the same recurring dreams. Like, I never had new dreams. It was the same 6 or 8 dreams, and they would always pick up where they left off or leave up where, just start where they left last time, where I woke up, and they're almost episodic in nature. And this dream was no different. I hadn't had one of those in a while, and this dream actually had memories, and I couldn't even tell you when I had the dream prior, where apparently I think I maybe murdered somebody and left the remains, I think like a skull or something, I buried it like in somebody's garage. Like, I killed somebody, got away with it, left the remains in somebody's garage, and then I killed, in last night's dream, I killed somebody again, and I was going to hide their body in the same place, and I realized, wait, I can't because I already had a corpse there. And that brought up like this old dread I hadn't even felt in a long time. When I woke up, I remember getting close to Claire, and I told her, "Can you hug me? I had a bad dream." And she was like, "Sure." And in that state of like mid-dream and mid-awakening, this sort of grogginess, I felt I'm hugging Claire for the last time because the police are on their way and they're going to lock me up. And I have to come clean and tell Claire that I had killed these people. And I never did. But in the dream, I thought it was real because I had that memory. And so I thought, did I repress this memory of murdering somebody and chopping up their body and leaving the remained corpses in somebody else's garage? And I won't say who this is, somebody I actually know. But man, I was just so spooked. And so I tried to go to sleep thinking that I had actually done that. And it wasn't until I woke up again a few hours later, the sun had cracked through the window at this point, and I had realized, dude, all of that was a dream, and I was so relieved. But, whoo! Talk about a stunning and scary, traumatic way to start the first Thursday of the decade, the first Thursday of the new year. Spooked me, made me feel away. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Follow this on Spotify. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to see the video version of this. There are people out on the internet that I follow and that I respect that don't respect the podcast form enough, I say. I think they look at it as passive content creation. But I want to make a podcast every single day by any means necessary. And I don't want to have to sacrifice quality to do that. And even if that means making a podcast that's 3 minutes long, 30 minutes long, an hour long, whatever it is, I don't want to break that habit because I love this form more than the people that put their podcast exclusively on their Patreon, and you have to pay to access that. I love this, and I'm doing it for free, and I'm not asking anybody anything in return. But if you can follow, like, and subscribe this podcast, share it, DM me, tweet me, email me, text me what you thought about this. That's my currency. That's what you can do. There is no quid pro quo, but the way you support the show puts a smile on my face and makes me feel warm and fuzzy. So thank you so much for that. This is the first guest of the year, the first guest of the decade, and this Indie Darlings exclusive, somebody that I've been following peripherally on YouTube for years, for a long time. And so, Jeremy, if you're listening to this, my brother, that's right, this is my get, and I'm proud to have David Cook, a.k.a. Nuttybuttuski, on all the things on the podcast. And he was gracious enough weeks ago to schedule this and put it on the calendar and carve out 2 hours of time to talk to me and to pontificate with me. And he's such a thoughtful, humble guy. When all you know is the character online, and you peel the onion back and you see that this guy's just, you know, a coping, struggling, lovely, darling human being. I mean, I just wanted to give him a hug so bad, and to call this guy a friend and to have his name on, you know, as a contact in my phone. It's amazing, man. It just goes to show that, like, if you just connect with other people, you know, my New Year's resolution or goal, if you heard me and Claire's podcast, was to strengthen my relationships with other people. And this was our way of doing that. And so he was such an incredible guest. And this is a really fun conversation that peeks behind the YouTube curtain. So if you're a creator, or if you want to see the thought and effort that goes into this, stick around for that. It's really fun. And stick around for the music outro. It was a good choice, if I do say so myself. And if you make it to the end, let me know. That just means I'm doing something right. And that means the world to me. So, look, I can yap and yap and yap. I'm not trying to buy time. I didn't think I was going to tell you guys about my fucked up dream. But before we get into it, Claire's been working on our website and revamping it. It's indiedarlings.net. And I said, text me. You know where to find me if you're cool enough to have my phone number. But you can also email me at knives@indiedarlings.net anytime. And we're open for business. So if you're listening to this and you like the way we compose podcasts, and you like the visual setup that we have, or maybe you're a fan of my short-form documentaries, my vlogs, or even my photography skills, let's talk. Let's collab. Our rates differ from people to people, because the truth is, you know, if I really like you, we can come up with a cool deal and do something together. If I support your cause, hell, you know, I might just work with you for free, just for the experience, and that's the truth. So this is a business after all, and we do headshots, we do corporate photography, videos, podcasts. That's my bag. So check it out at indiedarlings.net. Email me, tweet me at KNIVESMONROE on all the things. Without any further ado, our number one indie darling of the year today, my guest, my friend, the funny, the chaotic, the Jim Carrey incarnate. He's got some of the same molecules that I know Jim Carrey has. He's got the gift. He's got the shine. I love this dude. And getting to know him and talking to him, this is only our second call. I mean, he's even cooler than I thought. It's one of those, don't meet your heroes, but every now and then there's an exception to that rule, because some dude turns out to actually be more human, more kind, more caring, more empathetic, more compassionate, more experienced, and he transcends his YouTube persona. He transcends the gimmick, and Dave Cook is actually cooler than his persona. But I love this guy, and be on the lookout for him, because he's such a beacon. He has such a shine to him that you're gonna hear him. You're gonna hear him in the future. So say that you heard him and you discovered him first on this podcast. That would be really cool. Check him out. He's gonna be on TikTok, and I think he's gonna explode. This is just my theory, but I have a thing. I can call this, and being able to put it on wax is, I'm gonna recall this in the future. But without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, David Cook. Thank you very much for listening, and enjoy the show. Yeah, happy fucking New Year. Sorry, that's my Chicago impression. Is that good? Did I nail it?
Yeah, so are we on? Are we doing it?
We're doing it. We're doing it live.
Oh, we're doing it hard. We're doing it raw.
Yeah, man. Well, first, let me just say Happy New Year to my audience, and thank you very much for listening. I'm with a very funny individual, and I don't want to sell him too hard, right? Because then the audience is going to be like, "Oh, really? Make me chuckle, sir." I'm here with David Cook, but I know him better as Nuttybuttuski. So, Mr. Nuttybuttuski, sir, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Just woke up. I'm ready to go.
Man, you're living the dream.
Do it, baby.
Waking up at 11 a.m. How hard did you party last night?
So hard. It was just Netflix and one glass of wine. Yeah, believe it or not, craziness, man.
And what are you watching on Netflix, or are you rewatching something? I usually just rewatch shit.
Well, right now, my girlfriend and I were watching Fuller House.
Ooh.
And it's a doozy. Yeah, it's a lot better than I thought. So.
Which season are you on?
Season 5.
Oh my, you're in it.
Right now. Yeah, we're in it to win it right now.
Wow, who's your favorite character?
I gotta say, oh man, I'm so bad with these characters' names. I'd have to say Kimmy Gibbler, man, because she's still got her old school style of goofiness.
What's interesting is that she has endured over 3 decades.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
If it's the person I'm thinking of. I never saw Full House, and it never just came my way as I was growing up as an impressionable child that just grew up watching television. It never came my way, so I never really saw it. Which is funny because on Snap right now, you're like, can we push it back to 11:15? And I said, you got it, dude. So it's like I knew, but I really didn't.
Yeah. Is it fine? I got you on speaker right now. Is that going to affect the audio in any way?
So what I'm doing, I appreciate the nerd question. I'm recording using my tech, so the audience is only going to hear what I sound like, and then they're hearing you on your phone, and you sound smooth.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, man, no need.
Yeah, I know how that gets janky.
Yeah, it could. So speaking of all that tech stuff, I discovered you. I mean, Jesus, this may have been before the Google acquisition on YouTube, before YouTube got super mainstream. And I got to give credit where credit's due. My brother found your videos on the internet and was like, this guy has our sense of humor. It was like, you were the embodiment of this guy. And I'll link some of if they're still up on YouTube, I'll link them in the podcast notes. It's a very specific brand of humor.
I appreciate it.
Hey, man, it once, speaking of comedy that has endured over the years, we just saw you and it was like, this guy's going to blow up. This guy's hilarious. And
thanks, man.
It takes a lot of guts to put that kind of stuff on the internet. So last time we talked, and we spoke briefly on the phone maybe a year and a half ago or so, you were talking about, still having that desire to be an entertainer. And you're on Snapchat right now, and I always watch your snaps and your posts, and they're so funny. I don't recommend watching them while you're driving because you might fuck your shit up because they're so hilarious. But so what are you up to nowadays, man? I mean, YouTube. When did you what year did you first upload a video?
Okay, so the first video I uploaded was actually on my birthday in 2009, March 1st, and this was even though this was during the days of people started having smartphones, it wasn't well known in the world that you can use your smartphone to videotape everything. So people had digital tape cameras that you would shoot your videos with. That's right. So I had so much of that footage built up over the years. People were like, man, you need to make a YouTube channel. So I got a laptop, a really shitty I don't even remember what kind, Windows Vista or something, and I was doing Movie Maker on it, and I basically taught myself how to edit, shoot, and do all this stuff. And my first video was a burp video. It was like a minute and a half of me just like drinking a whole can of Coca-Cola and just belching. And people thought it was hilarious. And then I had just hours of footage that I edited. And then my second one was, I believe it was ice and salt on my nipples or something.
Ooh,
and then it just stemmed from there, and I started doing like challenges, and then I did the Just Eat It series, and that really took off, and I had some really good momentum, so I just kept going with it. And this was during the days where nobody gave a shit about what you were doing. Like, people were focused on specific comedy. There was no trends. There was no eating the Tide Pods. Everyone's doing it. There was no, dance moves other than like the Soldier Boy thing, but it really lit a fire under me because I didn't know. This was like right out of high school. I graduated high school in 2008. So this was like a year after that. And I was going to a community college and I didn't really know what the hell I was going to do with my life. So, when I got into the YouTube game, it made me realize what I want to do with the rest of my life. And that's entertain and to possibly change other people's lives as well in the process. So ever since then, I've been on, but this whole decade, man, it's just been a whirlwind and stuff. You know how family stuff gets in the way and, you think about other career opportunities in life, but, it's been a wild ride, man. And I don't want to stop, even though the social media in general has changed so much, because we're old enough to understand the changes, but it just seems like it's moving so fast,
It is moving fast, but consistency kind of prevails, and you don't have to get into it if you don't want to. But what was, I can recall like subscribing to your videos, and I think you had like maybe an older or younger brother that was a part of these videos as well. Is that correct?
No. I have one older sister, and that's it. And the guy who started off with me, his name is Chris White, and he is my best friend, my ride or die.
Are you guys still friends?
Yes. Yeah, we're best friends. He's actually my age. And he would be the guy, because we'd always be hanging out as kids. We've known each other since second grade, so we go way back. We know everything about each other. And he, back in the days when we had a lot more time, as high school kids, he would videotape everything I would do. I'd be like, hey, man, I got this idea. You're coming over. We're filming for like the whole day. Back when we had all the time in the world. So,
of course.
We just, he developed his own presence on YouTube as well because of that. And then when I did the Just Eat It series, the Joe, who introduced all the ingredients that I would eat, he got pretty big as well. And so us three kind of had this, we started to develop my channel together. And as we got older, of course, things get in the way. You get married, have kids. So it's just a wild ride, man. But
wow, that's interesting. Is that kind of what happened to the channel? Like life happened, life got in the way.
Oh yeah, man. It about a year into my YouTube channel in 2010, my mom was diagnosed with ALS, and she started declining within that year. And, I never had a serious girlfriend up until then. And so then I had a serious girlfriend in the mix, and, I was taking care of my mom. And like, I don't know if you know what ALS is, but it's a serious neurological disease that attacks. It's almost like MS. But right. It's worse than that.
Yeah.
And you basically only have 3 to 5 years to live because it shuts down all of your muscle function in your body periodically over time. So that really took a major stab at my abilities to move forward. And then and then I started getting, and then I got a job too, you know. So like halfway through college, I'm going through, I'm trying to find a job to sustain, you know, a good living, because I'm not quite making money off YouTube yet.
Right.
You know, I am, but not enough. But then, you know, once my buddies graduated college and they started getting their jobs going and making a life for themselves, starting a family, and it kind of left me at odds, because then I had to get a different camera, because, you know, the times change and technology is moving so fast. And so I slowly but surely I started getting behind on the times, and I feel like I've neglected that thing, that, you know, the passion that I developed. But, you know, of course, family first. You never, you know, when it all comes down to it, it's family. You know, everyone has different family situations. I know I've listened to a lot of your podcasts in the last couple of weeks since you turned me on to it, and I gotta say, man, you've been on a wild journey yourself. But yeah, everyone's got their demons and what they're going through. So I don't like to cast judgment on others, even though my style of comedy is like, I don't give a fuck. You got problems, fuck you, you know.
Of course.
But yeah, that really took a toll. So in 2013, my mom lost the battle, and it's not a curable disease, but it's just a matter of time. But that really, you know, I'm blessed with what I think is the best family in the world, and my dad was just a solid rock through all that, taking care of her. And so after all the damage was done in 2013, I kind of tried to get back into it, but then, you know, you got to deal with grief, and I had to go through all the stages of loss and acceptance, and it really threw me down in a downward spiral, because then my longtime girlfriend broke up with me as well. So I just needed to get out of that for a while, because I didn't see myself as being that goofy kid, you know, because I went through such a major transformation in life. And then as I still tried to stick with it, I don't know where I got lost, man. I really don't. It's just hard to explain, but
and it's hard to
I haven't
it's hard to empathize
I
as
haven't
well.
lost the feeling of it, you know, of wanting to get that back. But I'm in a way better place. But you know, we just keep fast forwarding up until like last year when we talked. Remember when I was on the phone, I'm like, man, I'm really feeling depressed. It really means a lot that you even called me out of the blue. I think I was talking about it on Snapchat, that I had some lingering depression, and, you know, I was in a weird phase in my life like 2 or 3 years ago where I was trying like psychedelics with my friends and stuff, just for fun. And I think that opened up it opened up my soul, because I had a lot of things that I was holding in about frustrations with my mom and past relationships. And it really brought me out to see that, like, I was severely depressed and unhappy, and I was in a really bad state. Do you remember that phone call?
I'll actually never forget it. I was at the gym at the time, and I remember just stopped. I saw that snap, and I stopped everything that I was doing, and I felt compelled to give you a call. And we didn't even know each other or anything. I was just like a fanboy, really. And I'd never even seen that human side of you, you know, because all I've seen is the persona. Like, I know you're a professional wrestling guy as well. And so all I knew was the gimmick, the on-screen persona.
I'm a professional wrestling fan, not a, let's be clear, ladies and gents.
Of course. Well, you're into it, though. You're totally into it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like all I knew was The Rock. I didn't know Dwayne Johnson. I didn't know David Cook, you know? So when I saw that you were in pain, I was like, holy shit. Like, you know, I don't know I just know how it feels to be on your side in terms of being in the thick of it. I haven't gone through the grief that you have, you know. I've yet to experience the pain of losing somebody very dear to me. And I'm such a sensitive spirit that I know when that inevitably happens, it's going to devastate me. Like I know that for sure. So I didn't know what sparked it. And then we talked on the phone, and once again, we don't have to get into it, but you were comfortable enough to tell me that, you know, you're going through this breakup. And I don't remember any of the advice I gave, but it was probably very bro-y, like, man, fuck her, dude. You're better than that, and like all that kind of shit. But it sounds like you're doing better today. You're doing better right now.
Yeah, that's correct, Knives. And
I'm trying to find your YouTube videos on the internet right now. Did you take down your channel?
No.
I can't find them.
I hope not. Hope nobody hacked into it.
So how do you spell Nuttybuttuski? How do you spell Nuttybuttuski?
Yeah, Nuttybuttuski.
Ttuski. There he is. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, I was subscribed, but I just couldn't find you. So I'm going to hit the bell. I might play a video here or two, just so people can kind of get the context and they'll be able to hear it. What's a good, just in terms of the audio, let's go to most popular.
Ooh,
man, you made a short film?
For audio terms,
yeah.
I got to say, it's not what you think. The original series used to be called Hardcore Sex, but I changed it to It's Not What You Think, so you could get a better idea. But that's strictly for audio only. It's like a video where you have to interpret what's really going on, but you won't know until the very end when it actually shows video footage of what we're doing.
Okay, so cool.
I think that's in the series. If not, you're going to have to kind of dive into it.
Man,
but there's 5 of those. You
know you're at 99 videos?
Oh, no way. Are you serious?
At 99, man. You need one more to make it a nice round number.
That hundo is going to have to be hard hitting.
I love seeing that some of these are 10 years ago.
It was what?
Some of these are like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna play this one.
And that's another thing, man. Emotionally, like when I see that 10 years, I reflect on it. I know this is it's a weird podcast because I'm such a comedic dude and like happy-go-lucky, but I feel like this needs to be talked about because everyone's human. And, you know, like Jim Carrey is my role model. He's like the guy that I've always strived to be like. And, you know, up until a couple of years ago, I started doing more research on him, and he's been battling with his own demons, you know, and it's weird to see him in that light, you know, when you grow up with someone like that as a childhood hero, and you realize like, yeah, damn, everyone's human, everyone's got their own shit to carry around.
I will say the world will really be in pain when Jim goes. We're gonna lose when Jim Carrey, you know, passes away, and hopefully that's a long time from now. When he goes, it's gonna hurt. That guy, you know, inspires so many and like has made so many people laugh. That's gonna really suck when he goes. But he's an inspiring figure, and he, if you go deep on him, like he's also very thoughtful, and he's not embarrassed to talk about humility and depression, and he's been talking about it for almost 20 years, since like the Truman Show days. Like, so he's experienced a lot. I want to play this, and let's just see if this is gonna make sense.
Oh boy!
Oh yeah! Hey, Frank, you think you got some? Yeah! Oh, my pillows are just so smooth. They're just so silky smooth. Here's a chippy. Hi, how you doing?
Oh boy!
Do you remember when having a camera was?
Let me take a stab at it.
Yeah.
Let me take a stab at it. That was that? Oh my God! Was that bagels and cream cheese?
No.
Hi, kid. I'm Skater, and we're gonna go scootering on my sporch. It's starting to get numb.
Hey, girl, let me tell you something. I know better than you, all right?
Oh my gosh. So this is don't click on this.
Yeah, that was in the beginning. That was definitely the first like 6 months of it all. That was a lot of footage pent up, and I had to just do snippets because it was so much. Oh my God,
Okay,
that made me smile.
Let's do one more.
You just made my day nice.
Let's do one more. Let's do one more.
This is yet to come,
Okay.
because it's Heinz geht's Velvet Day in Trainer Dolphin. Oh, buddy! The buddy's coming home! Roger Klotz is in the building! He's here! And Petty Mayonnaise isn't gonna stop him! What's up, guys? It's Chris!
I remember this guy. Yeah, I thought he was your little brother because me and my brother, who's 5 years younger than me, and he's gonna love that we did this podcast. This is kind of like a little bucket list thing. But I remember seeing him and thinking, like, dude, they're just as fucked up as we are. They're just as weird as we are. The difference is they have the balls to put it online. This is
man, everyone's got the balls. You think too much, you know. But man, that was.
Can you?
I wonder what the audio is going to sound like.
Do you know how many views this channel has had overall?
No, I don't really look at it.
Would you like to take
what do we got?
Would you like to take a shot?
Yeah, let's go with. Oh man, 2 million.
You're at 3. You're at 2.9 mil.
Whoa!
Isn't that something?
Damn.
That's something, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Wow. I never really thought of that. I know I had one video with 1.7, and that just shocked the hell out of me.
How does that feel, man?
But yeah, that was like a horror movie, you know. So it's amazing how these platforms can not only alter how you perceive yourself, but it almost gives you the confidence you need. Because like if that wasn't there, what would I be doing? You know, what would be that void?
Yeah.
It's just amazing, you know, that we grew up in this time and age of technology, isn't it?
You're really kind of ahead of the curve here. There's a video that has such a great thumbnail and title, which is really the secret sauce of YouTube success, and it's how to light your armpit hair on fire.
Oh my God.
Are you on Twitter by any chance?
I am on Twitter, but I'm on, man, I've never understood Twitter if you're trying to get big or if you're trying to make a name for yourself, because I have like 23 followers, and I only upload things. I don't know how to tweet properly, my opinions.
You really have to be.
I'm on Twitter, same thing.
You have to be an asshole.
You can find me on are Nuttybuttuski.
Perfect. You kind of have to be an asshole on Twitter to really get over. But there's a guy that's on there who's kind of like a backyard wrestler named Superhuman. I don't know if you've seen his videos, if they've popped up. But this is a guy that makes videos where he does like a diving elbow onto a microwave and like kind of stunts, right?
Oh my God, that sounds horrible.
It's actually quite delightful.
Gruesome.
It's quite delightful if you're into that sort of thing, which I am. But you know, it's funny. Like I will agree with you on this. Like we're not young kids anymore. Now we got to think about rent, and we got to think about, you know, somebody. If you're dating a girl, she's gonna Google you. And this is what she's going to find. And are you okay with that, right? So that's not really what you sign up for when you start doing this. And in 2009 and 10, it was a different landscape. Like I had this video, and I'm not proud to say this, and I've never said this before, but I had a video online where I cut myself with a razor, and bleeding everywhere. And, you know, eventually YouTube took it down. I mean, just like a year ago, but it was up there for 10 years. And and why I would never post
It
something
was
like
up there
that
for
today.
10 years.
It was up there for 10 years. It was like my highest viewed
Whoa.
video for a very long time. And I'm not proud of that, but it was something that I made in 2009, and that was like my hill to die on. That's so strange. Like, I would never make I'm more conscientious about the content, for lack of a better word, that I put on the internet, because my children might come across it. My employers might come across it. Some clients, people, you never know. And so I wanted to have some sort of truthful message, and I'm not afraid to be a little controversial here and there, but it's difficult because comedy has these different waves, right? Like, I have always wondered if, gosh, I'm sure you've seen Superbad. That movie, I don't know if it's aged well in the past 10, 11 years in terms of this political correctness.
I've
climate.
seen it. I still find it hilarious. What do you think?
I think
has
it's very
changed about
funny.
it?
I think what people, if it were to come out today, I think people would be, it wouldn't be the instant classic that it was. I think people would say, well, where are the people of color? And, women are just kind of there to service the male, libido. And I thought it was exploitative. And, I don't think people would be in on the joke, right? And if you look at something like Revenge of the Nerds, or Animal House, it doesn't hold up, and it's not the critical kind of acclaimed piece of comedy that it was when it came out. So it's kind of hard. Kevin Hart has been in trouble with tweets that he made 10 years ago. So comedy is often scrutinized for being aged or something, 10 years down the line. So it's brave to put something out there and say, this is the hill that I want to die on, and this is how I felt at the time, and this was funny at the time. And it exists on the internet forever, I'm looking at the most viewed video that you have has 2 million views. It's called Love, a short film.
Whoa, it's got 2 million?
It's got 2 million views. And
damn.
I mean, do you feel this pressure since you grew up in front of the camera in America's eyes? Do you feel this pressure for having that you need to be an entertainer? Like, which came first, the desire or the feedback?
Ooh, that's a good one, man. That's deep. I've always been told since I was a kid, I've always been just this ridiculous, goofy individual. Like I don't care what. Like, I will scream bloody murder at Jewel, in the produce aisle, and I don't get embarrassed about that at all, because I know the odds of me seeing these people again are slim as none. But I would say it was always in me to feel that pressure to perform. So my desire, I chose to make that YouTube channel, and it was, a lot of people were giving me that advice, which is good. I needed that, but all in all, it was definitely my call on making it all happen. But
I mentioned to you on Snap the other day that I think you would dig TikTok the most. And yeah. I think your initial response was like, oh, that's just another, got to sign up, and that's just another platform. And but honestly, if you just took what you do every morning, which it's gotten to a point where I look forward to it. It's like I wake up, wow, Nuttybuttuski sent me a snap.
Yeah, and it's weird because, the last 2 years, I think I've only uploaded like 3 videos, man. It's bad. I see it as a negative thing because I have so much footage even saved, but it's weird now because everybody films stuff on their phones, and it's like vertical style, and I've never been the kind of guy who likes that. You know what I'm talking about?
You've also never been the type of guy that was going to do what everybody else was doing. And I think that's to your credit.
I hate that mainstream thing that everybody does. But in essence, Snapchat is where everybody's at right now. And Instagram and TikTok, like you said. But what is this TikTok?
So,
I know it's like music and stuff, but it's like Vine, but with music.
Exactly. So I remember when Vine came out, I think it was like 2013 when I saw it. And I remember thinking, like, this isn't cinema. Like Monroe, the filmmaker, I was like, this is not cinema. How dare people on their phone? This is so crude and blah blah blah. And I've been very vocal the past couple of years saying, like, man, boy, do I regret not really jumping on the Vine bandwagon, because some really good short films, for lack of a better term, came out from that era. And it was a great era to grow, to network, and for some elite to really spin it off into a career that could make money. Like, what I don't know how inoculated you are in the current YouTube scene, but when you have your guys like Logan Paul and what's that other guy, Jake Paul, those guys started on Vine.
I'm well aware of them. Yeah, so they're big. Those
kind of guys are like the big examples, and one could argue the exceptions. But TikTok right now is in this golden age where you can post one video and it could get 1 million views. You know, like and the effort versus the engagement ratio is just white hot. The way YouTube was in 2008, 2009, and the way Facebook was in 2010, and so it's a golden era right now, and like a younger demographic is on there. I remember when Snapchat was white hot. I think like 2014, 15, 16 was really like the heyday for Snapchat. And I'm not that guy that's this BuzzFeed article, like, you know.
Oh God, am I that old now?
No.
It's fallen out like 3 years ago.
No, I'm not saying that, but you know, people go where the youth are typically, whether if it's MTV, Snapchat, TikTok. And like, I've made a few videos on TikTok, and they get way more attention than any other social media platform that I've put like a decade in. So I think if you were to just post the same stuff that you're doing on Snap, save it, put it on TikTok, watch what happens. And if you're into that feedback, I think you might get some reward for it, because your humor is very unique in a particular, they'll call it an acquired taste, but you'll be surprised how many kids right now feel exactly the way that you feel. And you could be, this is a little lofty, I know, but hear me out. You could be an Adam Sandler of this TikTok generation.
Yeah.
You could.
That's a good example.
And that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you capitalize on that. No, it doesn't have to be.
You have to have music on these videos, because I've only seen like music video like style filming.
Right. So I would look into TikTok compilations on YouTube and go down that rabbit hole, and I think you might be inspired, because a lot of it's comedy. You know, there's a tech scene on TikTok.
It's not hard, man. It's not hard to pick up a phone and just film now. It's the easiest. That's what drives me crazy about some kids, is they don't even realize how easy it is to just throw shit out there now. You know?
I can't believe you came from the DV tape era.
The what?
The DV tape era?
Yeah, high 8 tapes.
That's what I'm saying.
But it still had a digital cord, or a cord that can connect to your computer. You know, it's insane, man. But,
same.
I think, well, let's go back to that, like what you were asking me earlier about
which came first.
What came first? And do I feel the pressure of not society, but like how I perceive myself on the internet?
That's right.
And I do feel a weird pressure sometimes to be somebody that I don't feel like I am. A lot of the times in the moment.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the things that I film, that I post, I'm in the moment of some like ridiculous comedy bit. But, you know, most of the time I'm just a regular person. And it's kind of like the thing like, hey, monkey, dance, monkey, you know, do this, you know, and I'll get recommendations from people saying, oh, do these just eat it videos. And it's like, you know, I'm really not feeling that right now.
That's right.
And it is a weird, it's a weird thing, you know, to feel that pressure, but I don't know. I'm having trouble kind of explaining this, but
well, the reason why
that was a really good question you asked earlier about that.
And let's peel back the onion a bit. And the reason why I ask is because, you know, I have a 14-year-old son, and college, when we talk about it, is kind of like almost unrealistic. It's like college. Why? Like even he tells me, why would I want to go into debt for a degree that might not even matter? And that's a hard, as a parent, to really kind of rationalize that. I felt that way when I was his age, and I never really went to college. Yeah. And his generation, it's so practical to make money off of AdSense. It's very practical to make money off of YouTube, to be an entertainer. But when you look at the data, you know, it's still you still got to be in the 1% to really be a PewDiePie or a Elijah Koshy or a Casey Neistat or a Philip DeFranco. Like, you have to be really good at it. And you have to be willing to eat the shit and do it and do thankless work for years before you can really pop. Kids are being brainwashed, programmed, and conditioned to want to be famous. And I have a lot of empathy for that. And it's like, what came first? You know, I grew up on television, so MTV and Nickelodeon. Like, I wanted to be on Conan O'Brien, you know, when I was younger. I don't know why, but I did. It just felt like something I could throw myself into. And so I don't view myself as an entertainer. I view myself as someone that has to push messages out. And so it's kind of hard. Like, my son might have this desire to want to be some sort of entertainer, but at the same time, it could be a borderline fruitless endeavor if you put your self-esteem and fulfillment on the line. And if you think that YouTube numbers is the only end-all, be-all way to fill that gaping hole in your heart, you might just be chasing that dragon forever, right? So, but then there comes this expectation, and I'm guilty of it. I mean, I'll be the first to say, like, I only know Nuttybuttuski, the internet persona. I only know that guy. And I'm not going to tell you dance monkey dance, but it's like, I don't know who that guy is when you take off the makeup. And so does that guy want to be an entertainer? Does he want to make his income with what I refer to as art money? Like, how do you want to pay your bills? Do you look at it as a career? It's never been more practical than ever, for sure. And you do have, 3 million views on YouTube. Like, you're not necessarily starting from scratch. It's not something, you can't rely on that forever, right? But at the same time, like, you have the chops. Do you feel this pressure of like, well, I should do that because maybe I'm good at it? Or are you like done with that? And it's like, I'm not that person anymore.
Yeah, I get that feeling a lot. But when I really sit down and think to myself, what would be the best thing for me? I still have that attraction to uploading content because, you're going to get a few assholes here and that. Oh, you're too old for this now. What are you doing? But all in all, there's something about it that is always, it's just like a magnet that pulls me in every time. And whenever I hit that upload button and my finished product comes to light, and before I can even hear any comments or likes or all that feedback, I get like a rush when I hit that upload button. And, you and I, we're older, so we understand the difference between, like, because some people, when they upload a video, they're immediately going for I got to see if I get 20 likes and I'm keeping this video up. If I don't get enough likes, I'm taking it down. Yeah. And that's a weird thing in society now. Like, I think we need to teach kids that, fuck the like button, because that's not what it's about. It's about how you feel when you upload your content. And I think that in society now that's changing. So it even changes me too. I when I see a video and it doesn't have enough views, I judge it. It's weird. I judge things now based on numbers and the stats. If this thing gets like a lot of thumbs down, then it must not be good. But that's who made that rule, Right. You should because when YouTube first started, it went based on a star rating, right? Right. You remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember video responses, 5 stars. I remember those days.
Oh my God, do they still do video responses?
No, they don't.
No, man, I missed that, man. That was good. I used to get those all the time. But yeah, it's a great thing. Yeah, my passion's never left for this. It's just that, like I said, life, the older we get, we start thinking more like, you know, do I want to go out in a man song at the age of 29 and pour a bucket of water on my head?
Obviously,
hell yeah, I do.
Obviously you do,
but
of course. But should you?
I start thinking like, if I go to apply to another job, they're going to look at that and go, is this guy going to do this at my job? And it's a weird thing, man. And now I'm starting to think about, you know, family and possible marriage. And the older we get, we start second guessing. But I got to tell you, right now in my life, I'm very frustrated because right now I bought 2 months ago. I just bought my first home.
Congratulations! That's huge.
Yeah, I'm out in the suburbs of Illinois.
That's huge.
Yeah, that is huge. So, like, for the last year, if you look on my YouTube channel, on the last video I posted, I think it was my first live stream, and I was talking about it in depth about depression and like, this is who I am. This is what's going on in my life, because this was the 10-year anniversary of my YouTube channel. So I was in the middle of a lot, man. You know, I'm in a new relationship. I've been with my girlfriend for a year now, and everything's going great. And this new home. So like, I've just been, I haven't had any time to deal with YouTube,
of course,
and focus on building up that audience again. But I have a few, you know, hardcore fans that still reach out to me, but it's so Snapchat makes everything so much easier, you know, because you just upload something that you record yourself on your phone, and it's boom, it's right out there for the world to see. I don't have to edit stuff on a computer, and you know, like how the YouTube process is.
Right.
So it makes life easier. But I'm in this weird transition right now where I'm trying to figure it out. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, as long as YouTube will be around, I'm going to be around with it.
That's very interesting. You know, I think, let me ask you, like, I feel like as someone that makes a lot of podcasts and puts a lot of opinions out there, you're taking a risk. You're saying, you know, yeah, if my employer hears this, can I take the heat? And let's just call ourselves artists for a second, pretentious though it could be. And I think you're an artist as well, performance artist.
Thank you.
You have to be willing to take the tomatoes thrown at you, the bullets, especially in this era where everybody can see everything, flaws and all. And everybody wants to also portray the highlight reel. Like, yeah, I got my shit together. Look at how I'm at, you know, this restaurant right now, or I'm hanging out with these friends, you know, on a Saturday night, and look at how cool I am on the internet. There's all these different conflicting dichotomies, and we're always comparing and contrasting ourselves with other people. I do that a lot, personally anyways. But I made a decision years ago, maybe 15 years ago or so, that even if it means failure, even if it means hunger, even if it means poverty, I'm going to make art and live and die on my sword, on my own terms. And I've never gone back from that. And when I look at comedians on the internet, popular from the top and at the bottom, they have other jobs, day jobs, and that's how they get by and pay their bills. If you're not on the road, living the road life 24/7, but they make the decision of like, I'm putting this as my career first. And it sounds like, and it's weird to say this, and I don't want this to sound like a diss. It's not, because I envy this in a lot of ways. I could have saved myself a decade of trauma if I was smarter to look at things safely, conservatively, practically. The entertainer life is anything but practical. Show business, for a lack of a better term, now that it exists in our pocket and the price of entry is so cheap. Anybody can give it a shot.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's not worth the risk? You did it. It was fun. It was a hobby. Been there, done that. And now you're going to, you know, kind of wear the adult hat Do you feel like that makes more sense to you right now? Do you struggle with like, will I regret not going all in, or do you feel like I don't know? Like I'm curious because
Yeah, I feel like what you just said, regret not going all in on it, because for the last couple of years I felt like I haven't given it my best. And I could go on and on about my life story and my situations in life, but when it all boils down to it, every time I think about what will I truly feel satisfied in my life, and what do I consider success for me, I truly believe YouTube is that thing for me. Now, it might not be for everybody, but like I see it as a doorway to other opportunities. Because,
like what? Like what are those opportunities?
YouTube is nice, but like YouTube is your platform for other companies, because I want to turn this into a career. I want to go full time into this and quit my day job, let's say. And it would just leave me. So I don't know. Have you ever heard of Gary Vee?
Of course, I'm a big Gary Vee guy.
Motivational speaker guy. Yeah, you are. Oh yeah. What am I talking about? You know. But yeah, he like every time I listen to him, he just lights a fire up under my ass, and it's always about these people talking about their jobs, and he's like, well, just quit. Why don't you fucking quit? It's that simple. And then they keep going on. He's like, no, you're not listening to me. Fucking quit your job and do what you love. And it's like I want to listen to him, but he drives me so crazy, because if I do that, I'm going to be in a really bad way in my life. So I try to take his messages seriously, but at the same time, I don't know, how do you perceive that stuff when he tells people to do that stuff?
Oh my, well,
quit your job and just do it, man. Just go for it, and that'll leave you so much more time to focus on what you need to do. And I don't know.
Well, here's the thing: not everybody's cut out for that. That's the truth. In 2016, I had the day job and I was raising kids, and if I'm being super honest, I was on welfare. I had Section 8 housing and living paycheck to paycheck, and, trying to have the side hustle of like, here's my camera, I'm trying to take photos. And it was so hard, David. Like, it was really hard. And listening to a Gary Vee podcast where he says just that, like quit the job and go all in on your passion. And it's like, I felt for myself, and, I have a wife and 2 kids, people that I'm responsible for. I felt, I pretty much asked Claire, my significant other, and I was like, I want to quit. I want to risk everything, and I want to move to Austin. I know this is like batshit crazy. What do you think? And she was like, yeah, what are you waiting for? To have that crazy cosign was really all the validation I needed to be like, look, I can try it, risk it, fail. And if I fail, I can go back to failing at something that, this is a Jim Carrey quote, failing at something that I don't love. So I might as well risk failing at something that I do love. And I did that. And I moved to Austin, and I was away from my family for 3 months as I was saving up paychecks to move them from South Texas, a border town, to Austin, which is closer to the middle of Texas. Texas is giant. Yeah. It's like the size of Germany, Paris, and 4 other countries in Europe. And my first job that I got was as a maid. So I was cleaning up mansions, and it was called Maids to Go, and it was like one of those. You get the bat signal, which is like a dustpan in the sky, and you get the call, and then you got to go and you got to clean up somebody's house. And I did that until I eventually got an interview for Apple. I got a job at Apple and saved up a few paychecks, moved everybody over. I was working 60-hour weeks. I pissed my pants on like one day off because I was just so tired, and I was walking to work, taking a bike to work. I mean, it was a grind. All that just to bring my family to Austin, to have like 10% potential more upside of being surrounded by a community that is more creative. And I was just banking on having more opportunity to do what I really want, which is video, podcasts, photos, art life. I did that for about a year and a half, and I finally got an opportunity. And it's funny, and listen to this, because you brought Gary Vee up. Gary Vee has a videographer named David Rock. They call him D-Rock. And all the vlogs that you see that Gary has and some podcasts and micro clips, Gary now has like this 30-person team that create this kind of brand empire for him. But in the beginning, he had one camera guy named D-Rock. D-Rock puts a tweet out there on the Twitterverse saying, hey, this person's looking for a D-Rock in Austin. Hit this guy up. I hit him up. Long story short, I got my dream job, and I was working with, someone that was like this American icon, this low-key celebrity, someone that had, 5 million followers collectively across all his social media. And I was his full-time videographer. I had made it. I had achieved my dream. And it all started from taking a leap of faith, going all in on me and saying, you know what, I could do this. I was like a telemarketer, had the headset on and was working for like Bank of America or something. And, there was no corporate infrastructure and I was never going to grow. I was making $10 an hour. And I could have still been there right now if I chose the safe option. Instead, I said, fuck it. I gotta try it and I gotta fail because I need to know. Like, I need to know if I'm great or not. I need to know if this is really in my wheelhouse, if I have what it takes. And I rather fail at doing something that I love than succeed at doing something that I fucking despise. And it made me hate myself. So because of that opportunity of following Gary Vee's videographer, D-Rock, and I knew what to look for because I had sacrificed so much, I was able to get that at bat and swing for the fucking fences. And I know it doesn't happen that way for everybody. People think it's a straight line. It's not. I had also got my ass chewed out, and I had been getting hemorrhoids on the bus, taking this 3-hour commute every single day. And like, I have let so many people down that believed in me before I got that opportunity. That is to say, like, I failed so many times before I got there. So when you ask Knives Monroe what he thinks about that Gary Vee ideology, I think it's romantic as hell, but you have to take the bullets. You have to risk everything if you really want to try it. You can't half-ass it. You can't dabble. Yeah. You need to go the fuck all in and risk everything. But just know that in America, the rock bottom is actually pretty comfy compared to, say, Mexico's rock bottom, right? Our neighbors. So it all depends, like how, and Gary talks about this too, like how fancy you are. Can you go backwards? You just bought a house. Maybe you can't, right? So now you're trapped, for a lack of a better term. But for some people that can take for some people like my brother who have the privilege, my brother has the privilege to live with his mom right now. I don't have that luxury. I got 5 people that I'm supporting, you know what I mean? Like, so for him, he can take that opportunity. Now is the time. He's 26. Like, he can, if he had a dream that he could identify and say, here's what it is in specific terms and go all in, now's the time to risk it. It gets harder. It gets harder when you got the car, you got the mortgage, you got the yada, yada, yada. So I'm sorry that this was a long-winded response, but if you really wanted it, I say roll the fucking dice. YOLO, you only live once. You get the one life. Yeah. Try it, give it a shot. Amen, if you're really passionate about it. What's the worst that can happen? You land back on your ass. Like, dude, I'm not going to tell you what to do, and I don't want to give you this advice, so take this with a grain of salt, but you've already experienced maybe the worst possible pain I can think of, which is grieving your mom. I love my mom. Like, she's all I had. If something were to happen to her, and I had to take care of her and I was in the thick of that, if presuming that I could even, me personally, if I could even get through that, if I could even, start moving and because I feel like that would paralyze me. If I could even start moving, I would owe it to my mom to risk it, to live my dream. Like she would want me to. In real life, I still have my mom, but she sacrificed her dream so I could try. She had me and she was 20 years old. So she didn't get to even be a kid and fuck up and fuck around and play the field of dicks. My mom's listening to this. Sorry, Mom. But, the truth is, like, she sacrificed her youth for me. And so I owed it to her to not let that be for nothing, right? So you've walked through the fire. You've experienced the worst of it. Like, what's the worst that could happen? You know, what's the worst?
Yeah, you're
Another
right.
breakup?
I almost died in a snowboarding accident too. I'm like a cat. I got 9 lives here. Too much, man. Sometimes it feels like too much, but man, But I don't want to make this too depressing of a podcast. But man, a year and a half ago, my depression, man, I never knew what depression really felt like until I hit rock bottom. You know, it was just a wild ride I had to go on, and somehow I got out of it, and it's ever since then. I've been trying to get my ducks in line to get this, because I want to start my own podcast too. I don't know. I told you about this, but I wouldn't even know where to go. But for now, yeah, man, that passion hasn't gone, and I hope. And you, I think you talked about wanting to do another YouTube channel, right? Didn't you want to make a separate one from the one you have now?
So I have 2. One, I'm going to post kind of my higher end movie, documentary, blah, blah, blah stuff on. That's more like of a real sort of archival library place. And then I have Knives Monroe's YouTube, which is where he spazzes out and he talks and he does what we're doing right now. But real quick on the podcast note, you can literally do anything and everything on your phone. What kind of phone do you have?
I got an iPhone 8.
Beautiful. I just got my mother-in-law an iPhone 8, and before we got onto this call, I was teaching her how to use Siri, because she was asking me, like, how do I get to the post office? And I was like, just ask Siri to give you directions to the nearest post office. Blew her mind. But there's free apps that you can download where you can speak into your microphone on the phone and upload the podcast, and boom, it's on Spotify. You know, it's on Apple Podcasts for free.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
There's an app called Anchor, free. It's absolutely free. It's like a Twitter, but for podcasting. And I think it's going to explode, but it's also been on the scene for a few years, and Gary Vee has talked about it as well. I made a podcast. It's called Christmas Eve 2019. I made it on my phone. I used GarageBand on my iPhone, recorded into it, edited it, exported it, uploaded it on SoundCloud, which is my distribution podcast platform. And I did it in 5 minutes on my phone. You don't have to be fancy. Like, I did it as a kind of like this thought experiment to be like, will this work? And I did it. And I also did it because I want to make a podcast every day this year. And there are days where I just have travel days. I'm just on the road. I'm just, in the air. Can I make a podcast on an airplane? Well, I just proved to myself I can, and I can edit and upload it while I'm on an Uber. It's like no excuses, right? So it's never been better to be a creator, to be an entertainer, to be an artist, David Cook. Like, I'm telling you, fuck with TikTok, watch what happens, do YouTube. YouTube is great. Go on all the platforms. Do it while you're taking a shit. You have the time.
Sitting on a toilet.
There you go.
On a toilet. You know that song? You know that video?
No, maybe actually.
You've never seen Sitting on it? Oh my God!
Is that yours?
Google Sitting on a Toilet right now. It's just some big old black chick sitting on a toilet, and she's literally singing "Sitting on a Toilet," and she's got all these different angles, and like it ends with a flush. It's got like millions of views. It's got
Sitting on the toilet. Sitting on the toilet.
10 million views.
Sitting on the toilet. Sitting on the toilet. Sitting on the toilet.
This chick is my hero.
Sitting on the toilet.
2010.
Sitting on the toilet. Sitting on the toilet. Sitting on the toilet.
It's just so much, man.
Dude, you could remake that on TikTok and just watch what fucking happens. Just watch what happens.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
I don't want to be that guy who like copies off of other people's material. I try not
of course.
to. But
oh yeah, and
every
comedy.
now and then I get that itch, like, oh my God, everyone else is doing it, so I could get a quick couple, cash grab for views.
Yeah, hey, it's a good way to get your foot in the door, right? And it's not plagiarism if you're paying homage.
Yeah. Of course, you send the link in the bottom. But man.
100%.
That was old. That was an old one, man.
That's an old one. 10 years ago.
Yeah. A golden oldie. That was 10 years ago. Oh my God.
I know.
See, I feel like I don't know. I'm at this weird point where I feel like I'm going too far into the nostalgic X. Everybody grew, like I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago.
Of
By
course.
no means at all. We all change, like when I first started, I was 19, my brain wasn't even fully developed.
Yeah.
So I had all these, we had so many, and not only with the change of technology and social media and how, the younger kids that used to be 5 years old, now they're almost in college. So it's like almost like a different generation. So I feel like I like these nostalgic videos and stuff and like looking at my old videos, but I feel like I'm kind of like, at times it makes me feel like I'm old and washed up. And it really puts a damper on my motivation sometimes.
I would say
to
that
get out there and do it. Like every time I feel like I want to upload something, I go, wait a minute, am I too old for this shit now?
consider
Weird. Yeah.
consider for a moment that that's the depression talking. Consider just for a moment that it's the depression talking. And I'll tell you why, because, one thing I've always admired about Quentin Tarantino, who's a legendary filmmaker, is he makes a movie basically every 4 or 5 years. And he becomes everybody's favorite filmmaker every time he releases a new movie because he's whether he means to do this or tries to do this or not, this is kind of like my personal theory, he makes movies for the new high school freshmen. So even though Reservoir Dogs is 30 years ago, he just made Once Upon a Time in Hollywood last year, and now he's everybody's favorite again. So he, I guess kind of what I'm saying is like reinvention is part of our process. Taking the old and making it new is part of the process. Living in the past is like a quicksand. Like, I know it's comfortable there. I just think you need more cups of coffee. Anytime you feel that way, drink a cup of coffee. Do 10 burpees.
Oh my
See
God,
if you still
man,
feel that
that's the
way.
last thing I need. I'm if this is the first impression that I'm giving for people who've never seen my content, I don't know if this is the best first impression, but it's very tame. So, it's wild. What do you do you ever feel that way too? Like you're living too much in the past?
I do feel that way, but I'm also my number one biggest fan. Like when I feel like I don't have any ideas, first of all, that's false. Like I have notebooks and notebooks of ideas. You mentioned something about like YouTube and how people have this instant gratification microwave sort of cultural reaction of like, I uploaded something, oh, it only got 20 likes in the first 15 minutes. This thing is a flop. They'll delete it or whatever. I'm the exact opposite. And when I upload something, I put too much pressure on like, this thing needs to be amazing. It needs to be like a movie. You don't just put half-assed movies out there in the box office. But it's like the internet doesn't care. It's all about the net. It's not about catching one great big fish. Oh, I don't want to go fishing unless I catch the biggest fish. No, it's about the net, like the career. Like in 10 months or in 10 years, what did you do? Well, in 10 years, Nuttybuttuski got 3 million views. I've been on YouTube for 12 years. I got 50,000 views. But I'm still here. And it's like...
But you cover... like, you can't really compare us to because we're way different genres and what...
So that's my point. That's my point.
Because a lot of people
can't...
go on YouTube and all these platforms to escape and to find some funny, goofy, if
that's
you
my
want to
point.
hear
That's
someone
my point.
talking about their day, or do you want to see some guy putting salt on his nipples, screaming, and it just comes down to the maybe, I don't know, shock factor. But
is it just me, or when you said salt on the nipples, that made me really thirsty? I don't know.
Thirsty for what, Knives Monroe?
You know exactly for what. Them hairy nips, bro.
Yeah.
I will say that, like, take your own advice. Exactly. Like, people are on YouTube and are consuming for different reasons. And I brought up the Tarantino thing because there's a whole group of freshmen every year, a whole group of new minds. Like, it's like a Peter Pan-esque sort of thing of like, there's these 14-year-olds that you could be their guy. It's just the truth. And you might feel like, well, maybe I'm too old. Well, maybe you're not for 40-year-olds right now, but that's okay. Know your audience. Like maybe you're for those 15-year-olds that just got a phone for Christmas, and now they're gonna go to the comedy section on YouTube, and they might discover one of your videos, right? And they think you're funny, and you inspire them to create. So know who you're making stuff for, and that's why I keep doing what I'm doing. There's like 50 people. I mean, this sounds really cocky to me. I mean, maybe not to big swinging dick Dave Cook, who has got 3 million collective views on YouTube. But for me, I got 50 people.
Oh my God, 3 million! I'm a god.
You're
a king.
A golden god.
Bow down to me.
You are so white hot. But I got 50 people, I think, that would fuck with me, and that is awesome. And I keep making stuff for them. Like there are people that listen to all my podcasts.
Yes, exactly.
That watch my YouTube.
Exactly, and they've been with you since day one, right?
Been with me since day one, or they just discovered me and I'm their guy. And that is cool. Like, I don't say it in a cocky way, but it's like, look at Dolph Ziggler, man. Dolph Ziggler is somebody's favorite fucking wrestler. And every Royal Rumble, they go for Dolph fucking Ziggler, man. And that's me. I may be doing this for 15 years, and look at Kofi Kingston, even better example. Kofi was so many people's favorite wrestlers, and he finally got an at-bat, and he knocked it out of the park. And I believe in the critical mass. Like, I believe in let something percolate and build and build and build until it explodes into a critical mass, and then everybody gets it. I'm all about that. So that's why I've been on YouTube for 12 years. But also, if I'm being super honest with myself, I haven't been like as committed as I have been in the past 6 months. And so a lot of those years were wasted years, like it's not like I've been making a video every day for 12 years. I think if I happened to have done that, I would have had much more success with it, right? So I put a lot of pressure on myself, but I've gotten better at not comparing myself to other people. I just want to be the best version of me, because when somebody discovers me, whether if it's on a blog or on TikTok or Snapchat or whatever, like I want to be one of their guys. And so when they wake up in the morning, the feeling that Gary Vee gives you, I want to give them that too. You know what I mean? Because it's my way of coping and going through life and existing, but it's also my way of giving back for all the people that have inspired me over the years. So
exactly,
it's like Jim Carrey.
Park on that.
It's like Jim Carrey, man. Like you got some of those atoms, some of those electrons that have also been through Jim Carrey, and so that's within you now, So while you got it, I think you got to use it. I feel like I'm telling you quit your day job, and I don't want to be that guy that tells you to quit your day job exactly. But I guess I am saying that I do believe in you, and I think you have something. And if you truly did want to build that career, like if you know why and your reasons for why are very compelling, then make it all about the why you want to do this, and I think you'll attract everything that you desire.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with, a lot of success on YouTube has to do with not giving a fuck. Just going with what you originally intended on, and not like, because it's the second guessing that has been my downfall for the last half of the decade.
I agree. And when you're younger, you don't have that barometer.
My content has struggled massively because of it, and I'm realizing that now. And it's like, because the videos you just showed a while back at the beginning of this podcast are like, I was a way different person. That was footage that I still crack up to this day. But like, I look at my new content and I go, even though you change, you grow up, and you're not always going to be the same person. I miss that, dude. I miss the videos you just showed me, because that's in essence what drew people to my channel, is that personality.
And that's what people are attracted to.
I have to always see that fun, happy-go-lucky kid side of me, but it's what always, in essence, of what that's what got me the success. So is it wrong to feel like I want to always go back to that, or is that the nostalgia thing in my head triggering? What do you think it is?
So there's a few people online that I look up to and that I'm envious of, and that, I want to be as popular or as successful optically as they are. But it's not that I want the Lamborghini, the mansion, the drones. It's not that I want that. I don't want the material stuff. I actually just want the confidence. I want the self-esteem that they have. They look like they got their shit together. And when I look at old Nuttybuttuski videos, this is a guy that had, in a good way, no self-awareness. And so he's just going. He's just fireworks. He's just a dog chasing cars. And he's not even questioning himself. I think you look back at that nostalgically, and that's the magic that you're really after. Not the jokes, not the conversation that you were having with your audience, but just the attitude that you had, the state of mind. I think you go back and you value that, and that's what we're really after. Is we want to feel great about what we're doing. On that note, check this out.
Hey guys, it's me, Dave. Just wanted to let you know that I'm back in action. And this video isn't meant to be funny. It's not meant to be funny at all. I'm just telling you, I haven't came out with videos in a long while. So, I just wanted to let you know, stay tuned to my channel. Don't leave. Keep the subscription button there. Or if you haven't subscribed yet, it's right above there. So, yeah.
Oh, my God.
If I'm talking too loud, this is how I normally sound. So, just to let you know. And if it's bothering you, there's a volume button, I think, right there or there that you can just use it. Yeah.
This is Nutty's first vlog ever, uploaded June 2nd, 2009. This is a guy that just turned on the camera and just fucking went for it. And I think we all want to just tap into that confidence again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because I just feel like we're so conditioned as we get older to put that mute on ourselves.
That's right.
It's wild, man. Man, you made me smile with that. Oh my God, is that narcissistic of me to say that in my own videos?
No, I don't think so.
Get me going.
I don't think so. And even if it is, I mean, I think we live in a culture that kind of shames you for making yourself laugh. That's fucked up. Be proud of yourself. Like, look back at something and smile. Like, that's okay. We live in such a culture that compresses you, that wants you to stay in a jar and say, don't get out of here. Draws a circle around you and says, this is your little spot. Don't move. I think about that with my kids. I tell my son, who's 14 again, and I tell him, dude, you're going to spend your whole life up until you're 30 learning stuff. People are going to tell you how to act and how to be and what to feel and what to think. And then you're going to spend the second half unlearning all that shit. So I tell them, even when it comes to me, like, take what is valuable and leave all the stuff that does not work with you. You know what I mean? And so I think that's where we are at in our age. Like, you're going to be 30 or maybe you're 29. Is that right?
Yeah, I turned 30 in March.
Mazel
Oh, my
tov.
God, that's going to be like the 10-year... my God.
That's a big one, and I think now's the age where you start saying you want to reclaim what you've learned. I'm also videotaping me, right? So the video portion of this will be on my YouTube. I just wish you could have been here as well. But I wrote this down. I must have wrote this down 10 years ago, and it's funny I get to bring this up. It's called, and I saw this on a TED Talk. It's not like I came up with this, but it's called The Growing Up Paradoxes. Paradox number 1, rejecting the past, then promptly reclaiming it, which I think we've done on this podcast. Paradox 2, sobering up about our smallness and maintaining faith in our greatness, which I think is something we aspire to do. Yeah. And paradox number 3 of growing up, aiming to succeed wildly, then being fulfilled by failing really well. And I think we forget that. And it's all about looking back, being on that rocking chair and saying, you know what? I made a lot of people laugh. It was worth it. As opposed to, damn, I could have been a contender.
Yeah. Man. You got me going. You lit a fire under my ass, man. I just want to go upload something right now. I just want to be like, hey guys, what's up?
All right, so we are
my
trying
God.
this, and we've got ice, as you can see. Hold on 1 second.
Oh,
There we go.
geez.
We've got ice, we've got regular salt, and we also have kosher salt for you Jewish fans out there. Jewish. Exactly. See, we have respect for all cultures and civilizations and religions, but yet we have no respect for ourselves. So here we go.
We're now pouring
So
salt
gay.
on Nutty's
I could,
nipples.
you know, I could put. Oh my God, this is chunky. This is gonna burn.
your
Not a hair on his body.
It's winter.
That's not enough. Come
I
on.
know, this is bad.
Santa Claus could lay his.
That's how you know my age.
So much salt.
There's like a little
Okay, all right. You're covering the tip. We don't.
All right.
need that. That's a lot
Ice
of
cube.
salt.
commence
Ooh.
ice cube.
This is gonna hurt.
Ice.
Hold it on there really
yeah,
hard,
this is
Dave.
There's a
pregnancy.
lot more hair on my
Okay.
body now, FYI.
This is weird.
Here, I'll hold it. Dude, I'll hold it. I'm a man. I can hold my own ice cubes.
This
Oh my
is
God,
gonna
it's
hurt.
sticking.
Yeah, this is not as enjoyable as I thought.
Do the other one. It's like, it's not balanced right. Oh. Very morning before church. Turn on the priests.
It's all the same, I think.
God.
I mean, it's all-
Oh. Oh, God.
That's when it started kicking in. It took about 5 minutes for it to kick in.
Oh, it's like the bug is biting inside me.
Oh man, the before and after
This is
looks
like
painful.
long. Oh my God, this is weird. Oh, I put holes in my nipples. I put holes in my nipples.
Okay, I want to ask you a couple things, and that's the other thing that I loved about these videos when I was 11 years ago now. I think I have some of your influences pegged. Did you grow up watching the Tom Green Show?
I've heard of it. I've seen an episode or two, but no. I was
What
never-
about MTV's Jackass?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
That was like
a
that
lot
came
of it,
at
man.
such.
I have so much footage as a kid. I still have a lot to upload. But
Well, there you go for
I
Throwback
was
Thursday.
thinking about making a throwback video. I'm sorry I didn't interrupt with that one, but man, when I was like 12 years old, that was like when Jackass was at its height.
Yeah.
And man, my buddies and I, we would just go to like construction sites or out in nature. We'd be like, hey, I'm going to jump off this mound of dirt into this thorn bush. And like, oh, man, those are the days. I know it sounds stupid when
No.
I say it like that, but
Bro, I got pepper
got-
sprayed. I got pepper sprayed when I was in 7th grade on camera because I was like, I'm Knives Monroe and this is the pepper
my
spray.
God.
Like, I mean, boy, that fucking hurt for hours. It was one of those, I immediately regret this. It wasn't funny. It was like, it felt like a gang initiation. But it was like, can you blame kids nowadays for wanting to be YouTubers and wanting to be famous? I mean, we were just as guilty at the time.
yeah, that's true. We just didn't have the platform. We, it was different. It was all about TV was YouTube,
At the time.
But man, do you still have that footage? Because I was thinking about making a separate channel, just like a throwback channel to all those old videos, like when I was really old, not on my main one, but have you ever thought about uploading old ones?
I should think about that. I have some stuff I have some backyard wrestling stuff that is on YouTube and people can find it.
Oh my God.
But it's not something
if you don't
that
put it on there, you better send it to me.
Oh, I got something you'll enjoy quite a bit. It's pretty bloody though. I'm surprised YouTube hasn't taken it down. They probably just don't think it's real. But yeah, it's one of my most.
Yeah, they're big on self-harm videos now.
And that's good, and
So-
for sure, as they
Yeah.
should be. But I mean, I was the exact same way, man. But when I would do these stunts and like this backyard wrestling, it wasn't because I wanted to work for the WWE. It was because I wanted to have something to edit. It was content. I just didn't know the vocabulary at that time when I was 12 or 22. But we are a generation that grew up idolizing entertainers, and I think I'm always weary about using the word escapism, but it is what it is. I definitely am guilty of that for sure. So Jackass, I had you pegged for that because it just came at such an impressionable time for sure. But kind of surprised about the Tom Green thing, and you did mention Jim Carrey. What are some other influences I may have missed?
Wow, a huge. I would say because I was a Nickelodeon kid.
Me too.
I was never big into the fantasy, like Star Wars, Pokemon. I know I'm going to get shunned for that one.
As you should.
I was never really into that, like, what is it? Not Dragon Ball Z, but, all those shows like anime and stuff. I was never big into that, but I would say, yeah, Jim Carrey, Jackass. Like, I think Bam Margera had his own shows, but a lot of it did stem from Jim Carrey and Jackass. Man, now you got me on the spot. I can't think of it. There's so many. But I'm not just that guy who wants to be an entertainer and goofy. Like, as you said before, one of my highest grossing videos was, view-wise, is a movie called Love. And for a period of time in my life, I tried to attempt the filmmaking game, like actual cinema quality movies. And I really got attracted to that. And that's another reason why I started neglecting my YouTube channel, because I started acting, I got into theater, and, Second City is in Chicago. So, I live like 40 minutes from the city, southwest suburbs. And so it was just a, hop, skip, and a jump for me. And as you get older, you develop new interests and stuff. And so it's been a fascinating decade for me. Your 20s is a wild ride, that's for sure. So,
embrace the evolution,
as far as
man.
Influence, the what?
Embrace evolution, embrace transformation, embrace that this defined my teens, my 20s, now I'm moving into my 30s, and I have all the abilities. I can tap into those, those wells at any time. Like Jim Carrey has shed his skin so many times over the years. Like he can still spaz out and talk out of his asshole, but if that's all you want him for, he has more to offer. And Dave Cook, I think he have more to offer as well. Yeah. So tap into transformation.
Mm-hmm. And one of the most beautiful things I think about cinema is music, and I know that sounds a little cliche, but like if you another big influence now that I'm thinking about it is like I was a huge Indiana Jones fan as a kid, and
John Williams,
man, Spielberg, like all Jaws, like I was. My parents let me watch those kind of movies when I was a kid. And today's standards, those would be like rated at least PG-13 or R for some of the shit you see. But Spielberg was a huge influence in my life and opened up my eyes to a world I didn't know existed, But he definitely got me into that world. And I've been studying his films for years now. And it's like you'll notice that in all of his movies, I think he has an orchestra. He doesn't do like EDM music or anything really modern. It's very classic, and that speaks volumes, And I've been really trying to immerse myself around successful people like that because he, like me, I've had many learning disabilities throughout my life, and I try to, not let that get in my way, but Spielberg also suffered from a lot of that. And
I didn't know that.
Will Smith, yeah, he had, I think dyslexia and ADHD and a list of other issues that I don't remember. But yeah, he never went to college, and same thing with like Oprah and the Beatles not getting signed, and look at where they're all at. So Will Smith is another big influence of mine.
Oh yeah.
His kind of comedy, like just his Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Jerry Seinfeld. All these guys are definitely what has shaped my style of comedy.
For sure.
You know,
I love that. I never had the guts to go to an open mic and do stand up or even be funny. One of my friends, shout out to Mark Hernandez, who I'd love to have on the podcast hopefully soon, because he's working on his season 3 of a YouTube web series, which I used to be a part of. And anytime and I was so happy when he wrote a sketch and I was going to be in it, because I was mostly the camera guy. But I could not act worth a shit. I could not be funny. Like, no one would. I don't think I'm that guy. I can crack wise. I have a very dry sense of humor, but I am not funny. I don't think anybody would ever say that I'm funny. Like, I love anti-humor.
No, don't. You're putting yourself in a category you shouldn't. Because I'm telling you, man, your charisma is off the charts, and when you get into something, you're funny, man. I mean, I've been listening to a lot of your podcasts recently since you showed me, and you just have this knack to just go. And sometimes I just laugh, even if you're not saying something funny. I just laugh because you're just on such a level of charisma that I wish I had. So
that's really kind of you.
Not to kiss your ass and start, going down that category, but you're something special, man. You need to realize that you're a lot funnier than you think.
That's kind of you. That's very kind of you. I don't accept the compliment. Yeah. I'm just kidding. No, that's very sweet of you to say.
I don't accept it. Fuck you, man. I'm done. I'm out. We're done.
But I will say it takes a certain type of bravery to go out and risk rejection and pain and not being funny, to bomb, like I'm almost too self-aware. Like, I can't be funny. Like, if you give me a good script, maybe I can do something with it, maybe, but I don't have the chops. And you're somebody that I think you have to nerf your ability. You have to lower your volume, you know what I mean? And kind of dial it back. Because I think you just go straight, you're Mentos and Diet Coke, every single time you're going to explode.
Amen, brother. That is so true. Yep.
It's true, man. And as we're winding down here, because I know you have stuff to do, it's the middle of the week, and you've just been so gracious with your time, and I appreciate that. It means more to me. You were on my list. I have an actual list on paper of people that I, kind of like my bucket list, like dream people to talk to. And so hopefully we can do more of these in the future if you ever, want.
This is actually my second podcast that I've ever done. First one was like some wrestling podcast I didn't really know, but I want to, speaking in long form for me has always been a challenge, when I'm trying to gather long form thoughts, because as you've seen on my videos, it's just chaos. There's no rhyme or reason to my madness, but that's why I want to start my own podcast this year, to challenge that part of me. To see if I can, hold my thoughts together for that long. And I know it sounds a little selfish, but is that why you started your podcast? I know we're closing down. I just wanted to do that.
Yeah,
final thought.
We're closing down, and so anything that there's nothing that sucks more after you do a podcast and you're like, man, we should have talked about this. We should have. As soon as we press stop, that's when I wanted to talk about this comes in. So if any of those things are on the surface, I'm so stoked to get into it now. But the podcast to me, I just wanted to talk to people. I love, whether if you're a comedian or if you're into hip hop or whatever your thing is about, I love the art of conversation. It's so amazing. And what we're doing right now, I'm videotaping it. I got the podcast. There's this app called Otter where you can upload the MP3 and it creates the transcript of your conversation. So basically, you're left with this text document, and so you can edit that, and boom, you got an article. So much comes from the podcast. You can create micro clips for Instagram. You can create blogs and articles out of it. Short form YouTube clips. You have the whole YouTube movie, essentially. And so much comes out of so little yield. You get so much return, and I love that. And so I've put tens of thousands of dollars into movies. Maybe 1,000 people see it. And that's great. And then it kind of dies. But I've never gotten the feedback that I've gotten from podcasts before. So it was literally about listening to other people tell me, hey, this is something that I think you should do. And so even though I'm Knives Monroe, the filmmaker, Knives Monroe, the podcaster, just is able to make a bigger impact. And that's upside I just can't afford to leave on the table. But as far as your podcast, man, I totally support that. It's way easier than you think. You don't have to spend $1,200 on all the shiny toys and all that. I mean, go to the pawn shop, get a nice, decent microphone, get an okay recorder. Things are way cheaper than you think, especially when it comes to sound versus, say, video. You can spend $2,500 on one fucking lens. Screw that, right? You can do so much on your phone. The processing power on your phone is almost infinity times more than what we had to go to the moon, right? So you have a studio in your pocket. You can edit something on the go. Most of these apps are free. I implore you to actually do so. You're such a funny dude. Just do it. And somebody gave me great advice who had produced maybe 300 podcasts of their own, and they said that once you get to like episode 18, you're like 80% more likely to keep going. Most people can't even get to episode 18 and they drop off, right? So that's my challenge to you. I'll be your 19th guest if you ever decide to actually do that. And I think that'll be.
I really like that, man.
Let's do
Setting
it.
Goals.
Set them goals, man. So if there's anything else you want to talk about, if you want people to follow you on the internets and all that stuff, anything else, I'd love to hit those spots. I feel like we're wrestlers. We did all of our moves, but we're looking up at the clock on the Iron Man match, and it's like we got 3 more minutes. Like, what kind of moonsault thing do we want to throw in there?
Yeah. Well, man, I just want to keep talking forever about stuff. I have so much now that I think of that I want to talk about, but I know we gotta close up here. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for. Am I your first guest of the year or of the new decade?
As a matter of fact, you are. Yes, sir.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Well, it's an honor, and I can't thank you enough for getting me into this. You really motivated me to want to do that. And like you said, it doesn't have to be like the long form like we're doing. I could do start off with 10, 20-minute podcasts, right?
100%. Oh, yeah. I made a podcast on Christmas Eve that was like a minute and a half because nobody...
Yeah, you did a couple that were like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't see why the fuck not. I don't see why not. I mean, it's my show. I can do whatever I want. And it's the same thing with you as well. The pleasure was all mine, David Cook. And let's just do this again. Like, I can talk to you once a week, man. I don't want to put this pressure on you. But it's like we have so much in common. I think we're cut from the same cloth. We come from the same ilk, and we never even talked about wrestling, which, don't get me wrong, all the women who listen to this, boom, they're just going to disappear. And that's fine with me. This is the He-Man Woman Haters Club. Like, I can talk about wrestling all day. I will say, since I brought it up, I stopped watching WWE. I haven't seen it since WrestleMania. I haven't seen a complete Raw or SmackDown or a pay-per-view, and I've been that hipster that's like really into AEW right now. So I don't know if you follow that, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I do. I follow all of them religiously, and it's taken a toll on me because there's so much. There's a little bit too much now of wrestling to watch. You're just so behind the loop if you don't keep up with it. But yeah, I try to track. Good, man.
I try to track certain careers. Like, I have certain guys. CM Punk was my main guy since like 2005, and so when he, his whole arc has come full circle, and that's another guy that's on my list. So just know that your name was on badass motherfuckers like that guy. But
oh, you're the man.
Also a Chicago native. I don't know if you're a native, but also a guy from Chicago. But this is a guy who had his whole career, had his whole arc. His story is told. The book is closed. But I haven't really found another wrestler that I love as much as him. Like, I was a big fan of Daniel Bryan, and I feel like he's told a lot. Like, the bulk of his mythology is maybe behind him. I don't know. But it's hard to get into new personalities, Like, I was a big Mankind, Cactus Jack guy, right? Like, his story, his arc, his mythology was legendary, epic, and the wrestling lore is just so much fun. It's really easy to get caught up on being caught up. I can't just watch everything. I have to find the people that I love, and I follow them. But even if someone doesn't come around until 2030, I'll still be there like a kid, watching and paying attention. I just love those performers so much. It's the most unique art form there really is. It's 360 theater. It's organized stunt choreography plus method acting. I mean, it's quite insane. There's nothing like it. So hopefully, if we ever do another podcast in the future, I'd love to just talk about that. So anything, man, I'm here for you. Oh, hell yeah.
A whole podcast on wrestling? Hell yeah, man. I'm in.
I could do it.
You're not missing out on much. It has gotten a lot better in the last couple of weeks, but, because of the new year, the new decade, they're probably doing a lot of transformations with their writing staff, but yeah, it's exciting to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, the road to WrestleMania, that's when things start picking up and stories start congealing and all that, and hopefully nobody gets injured and everything. But I always pay attention to it peripherally, and now that there's social media, like you can always see what, like, I don't know, Alexa Bliss is doing on Instagram or something. So I kind of feel like I know, even though I don't know, and I just like watch ostensibly like the ESPN highlights, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Oh my gosh, man. You make me want to go. I want to get into it now, but that'll be another 2.5 hours if we do.
We'll do it. And next time we'll go to 3 hours. I just want to be respectful of your time just because, it's the middle of the week. This is weird.
Okay. It's all good. I made sure that I had enough time. So.
Well, that's why that's why you're fucking special, man. But so you made a few. I just don't want them to be kind gestures. It would be really cool if you actually took some action on some of these goals. I think you should make a podcast. We can talk about that anytime. You can pick my brain. It's way less complicated than you think. As far as your YouTube channel, YouTube algorithm right now promotes people that are prolific. So you'd have to make something and stay at a certain schedule, maybe 2 or 3 uploads a week, or if you're going to go weekly, maintain that schedule. Man, if it's going to be every Monday or every Thursday, YouTube really recognizes that, especially if you're an old channel. You kind of have to bring it back to life and like CPR that for sure. But I implore you to get on TikTok and just do what you do on Snapchat, but do it on TikTok. And I mean, you could. What happens if you have 1 million subs? Like, what happens if you have 1 million followers? What does that mean? Like, I've never had it, so I don't know.
Bring it on over to YouTube, and
well, there you
then
go.
we get rolling even more. But yeah, I've had a few viral videos on Facebook. It's been weird because I've had it all is on different platforms now.
Yeah,
like the viral thing on YouTube isn't as big, for me at least, as it is on other platforms now. And it's weird how that stuff just takes off. There's no rhyme or reason, too. And I don't know. It's just wild, man. Wild thing.
Gary Vee talks about creating natively for each individual platform, right? So you probably wouldn't post Nuttybuttuski videos on LinkedIn. Probably wouldn't do that.
No.
But, it exists. There's some pictures and videos of you doing your thing, that would, yield more return on TikTok or Instagram or something like that. So people make a mistake in just uploading everything on everything. Then you're not really utilizing what makes every individual platform special.
Right.
I'm on your Facebook right now, and I didn't even know you had one, so I'm following it now. I'll actually be up to date. But it's been such a blast to return to your content, man. It just reminds me of like when YouTube was fucking cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it has definitely changed, but it's not going away. It's just how you perceve it. It's wild how much it has changed, but in essence, you just got to stick to because that's what makes viral trends good. People who stick with trends, they don't last long. They fizzle out in a couple months and then everybody forgets about them. But if you just stick to your own thing, that's my best word of advice to those listeners out there who are still trying to figure themselves out and their style. Don't ever follow the mainstream like Logan Paul, because you're not Logan Paul. You're never going to be Logan Paul. There's only one of you, and if you stick to what you got going on in your own life, then it'll take off from there, and people will follow you. Don't try to follow others and what their trends are. Make the trends. You're a trendsetter. You're beautiful. You're sexy. You're everything you can. You're everything you could be, people. So
That's beautiful.
I think my girlfriend's knocking on the door. Well,
there we go, man. I'm gonna cue some outro
she's wondering
music.
what's going on. She's working from home today, so
Oh, she gets it.
she's like wondering. Yeah, because I'm telling her about the podcast and everything. But
How's she doing?
Yeah, we'll probably what?
How's she doing?
Oh, she's good.
That's
She's
great.
good, just walking around doing her stuff.
Man, I'm so proud of you. Look at you. David Cook, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm going to cue some outro music since you mentioned Spielberg and the John Williams era of great, terrific cinematic music. So I couldn't think of a better song that I think really encapsulated this energy. So thank you so much for coming on the show, brother. I love you. Keep a force field around your heart, and we'll see you next time.
You're so sexy, Monroe. You've got nice. You'll be time with nice Monroe.
Love you, sir.
You too, my good sir.